Hi, this is On-AIR, and I'm Klara Syrewicz. Our guest today is Daniel Flis, an investigative reporter who's looked into Juicy Fields, a gigantic financial pyramid that swindled thousands of people out of more than €500 million. In the process, he discovered that GRU operatives were behind this scheme and that a similar scam had been pulled off several years earlier in Poland.
If someone promises you remarkable returns with no downside, there are two possibilities. Either they've solved finance, or it's a Ponzi scheme, most likely the second. A Ponzi scheme is an investment scam. People invest into what seems like a successful business. But the business is an illusion and there are no real profits. The so-called returns paid to earlier investors come from money put in by new investors. So the scheme depends entirely on a constant flow of new money. Once that flow slows, or too many investors try to withdraw, the whole structure collapses. The most influential example is the scheme run by Bernard "Bernie" Madoff. A Wall Street financier and former chairman of the Nasdaq, Madoff exploited his reputation to gain trust. For more than 17 years, he reported consistent profits that didn't exist. Madoff may have been the most famous, but he certainly wasn't the last. With new technologies came fresh scamming opportunities. Back in 2015, a new crowdfunding platform called Recyclix tempted small-time investors in Poland and in several other European countries with a venture in plastic recycling, promising exorbitant profits. It had been set up by criminals from Russia, using false identities. The pyramid generated €39 million. Within a year and a half, there was no trace of it or the money. Having successfully evaded justice, the criminals behind Recyclix decided to go big. During the pandemic, they set up a new pyramid called Juicy Fields, promising another get-rich-quick investment, this time into medical cannabis plantations.
Las personas decidieron apadrinar la planta.
People who decide to sponsor the plant go to the website. They buy a plant, which costs €50. We go through the whole process, which is about 108 days from the growth of the plant to the drying and sale of the plant, and you receive the investment back and 35% of the sales we make.
Of course, Juicy Fields didn't actually cultivate cannabis at all. More than 500,000 people are believed to have lost a combined €645 million. Sergei Berezin, the mastermind behind both schemes, was eventually arrested and testified that half of the money was divided among 4 collaborators, himself included. But the second half went to silent partners in Russia, and then directly to a military drone factory. It now appears the scheme was a means to finance Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Hi, Daniel. Welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
What was the Juicy Fields Ponzi scheme and its Polish protoplast, the Recyclix pyramid?
Juicy Fields was one of the biggest financial pyramids in last years in Europe. It was active in 2020-2022. Investors lost almost €650 million.
It's enormous.
Yeah, because of this scam. It was a Ponzi scheme, a financial pyramid, which means that there was no substantial product, but the investors was paid out of money of further investors till the exit scam, where the money were just gone and lost with the organizers who flew to Russia. And before Juicy Fields, there was another very similar scam, which was created, registered also in Poland. There was a company based in Warsaw, Recyclix, which was created by the same scammers from Juicy Fields.
Okay, so they had the kind of trial run in Poland.
They exercised the scam here.
And both scams, it's interesting to say, because they had completely different fantasy investments. Could you tell us more about that, the way that they played out?
Well, I told that there was no substantial product, but there was a product which was told to generate the revenues. And it was just waste, plastic waste in the first one, and medical marijuana, cannabis in the second one. And investors were told that there are plants or plantations throughout the world which creates huge profit that could be divided into investors. And well, in both cases, when the amount was high enough, I suppose, the organizers decided to withdraw the money, to launder it through a set of companies, through cryptocurrency, and leave the investors without any pay.
What was interesting is that to give themselves time, they created these theatrics of a war of investors, of a kind of conflict between the main organizers.
Yes, in case of Recyclix, the official cause of withholding the money was a fire at one of the plants recycling the waste.
Okay.
And after that, there was a conflict which was seen in two channels of communications of the company. On the website, there was a narrative from one part of organizers, and through social media channels there was another, and one group was accusing another group of withholding the money. And I'm not sure if it was a theater, I suppose so, but maybe it was a real war between the gangsters.
Okay.
We are not sure.
So two different scams, but both lead somehow to the GRU. Could you tell us how is that possible? How did that happen?
We discovered that CEO of one of those companies, Recyclix, this one from Poland, was previously involved in a sabotage plot. There were 3 packages which blew up in Europe, in Warsaw, in Birmingham, and in Germany. And this former CEO of Recyclix was the person who sent the packages from Vilnius. And at first I thought that the name is exactly the same, but later I confirmed that's the same person. I'm not sure if he's directly connected to GRU, and I think he's not an agent. He was a low-class saboteur.
Okay, so he was more like a criminal for hire.
Yeah, he was a criminal for hire in both schemes.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that in between he was also hired to another job. He was involved in some scam in Denmark. So he's a man to hire.
Okay.
Well, also a former CEO of Juicy Fields was connected to GRU. He proposed some compromise for Trump to CIA.
Really?
And he was, yes, he contacted CIA with Russian embassy. Eventually, it ended with nothing.
But that was before Juicy Fields?
Yeah, it was before
during?
Juicy Fields. It was before Juicy Fields. So there are some patterns.
A man of all trades, I see. Wow.
Yeah, there are some concerning patterns. And there are also other signs, let's say, that those scams were somehow linked to intelligence services from Russia. For example, one of workers responsible for security was former worker of Wagner Group.
Oh, okay.
Well, there were many important persons in both of scams who were somehow connected to intelligence, Russian intelligence, who were Russian citizens.
The money evaporated, most of it at least, from both scams, but some of it somehow traced back to a drone factory in Russia. Can you tell us how you found out about this?
That's what one of the creators, one of managers, let's say, of both scams told to my colleagues from German media that the money from the scam was invested in a drone factory near St. Petersburg. And it's true that he was a shareholder of companies like that. But lately, there was a news from Spain. The mastermind of both scams is arrested.
Okay, so he's been arrested recently?
Yeah, he was arrested in 2024 okay. And extradited to Spain. And he told the judge that half of the money was divided between him and 3 other main organizers. And the second half went to Russia to a drone factory. So still, we don't know if GRU or other intelligence services were the real organizers or investors, but well, it's an important sign.
Especially given that the factory is a state-owned factory, right? It's not a private factory?
Well, it's connected to Defense Ministry of Russia, let's say.
I see, okay. Please tell me one more thing, because considering that the first scam happened in Poland, it started in 2015. Why were Polish authorities not successful in stopping it, or at least arresting some people? Because clearly they didn't prevent the second scam from happening.
I tried to talk with the prosecutor who was leading the investigation, but he refused to give interview. I just talked with policemen who conducted the investigation on a lower level. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't the man who decided. He was conducting investigation, talking with people. He told me that he didn't collect hard evidence for that Berezin who is arrested in Spain, that he was the organizer. Although, as I know, because I also talked with a witness from the Polish investigation, although there were people who told that he was the guy who gave orders.
So they had the information and they had his real name?
Yes, he had information that he gave orders under a fake name, but from another investigation they could get information what was the real name. So
but they didn't, somehow?
I'm not sure. As I know, they didn't ask Finnish prosecution office to interrogate a man who had the knowledge about Berezin. Okay. They also didn't ask Spanish prosecutor's office to interrogate Berezin in Spain. So they didn't try anything that they could do. Okay,
I see. So they didn't coordinate, I understand, with other law enforcement.
I think that's the problem. I think they could arrange a team of prosecutors from those few countries, especially Finland, also Latvia, mm-hmm. Because there was also an investigation on money laundering in Latvia, but for some reason they didn't.
It's a shame. It would have prevented a big disaster, but here we are.
They could try, I think.
Daniel, thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here tonight.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this program. Please tune in when we return next week. Have a great evening.